Hello, everybody. My name is Edison, and today I will present my poster, my research poster. Let's start. Okay, so it is entitled Perceptions about Bilingualism at Institución Universitaria Colombo Americano UNIC. So with this research project, I seek to know the perceptions of new students, alumni, and teachers towards the concept of bilingualism in bachelor's degree in bilingualism in UNIC. So I plan it to be a qualitative project and it will have a phenomenological approach. So the tools that I plan to use as a way to collect the data will be the interview so far, right? So, and the final idea with this project is to describe the identity that is being built and the construction of the meaning based on the experience that the participants have, right? Okay, let's scroll there. Okay, so as I already comment, so one of the objectives is identify or know what are the perceptions of new students, alumni, and teachers towards the concept of bilingualism? Well, some of my research questions are what is the perception of bilingualism of students of new study plan, the alumni, and the professors within the program of degree in bilingual education of UNIC? The second one is what factors lead to the decision of a UNICA graduate to teach Spanish or English, and how could this influence the university and the program? And the third one is what could be the similarities and differences in the perceptions of bilingualism in bilingualism in the different groups that are alumni, teachers, and new program students. Okay, so saying that, I would like to comment or to tell you a little bit more about my theoretical framework. So I have constructed three different concepts, like three different uh, specific concepts, as those are bilingualism, teacher education program, and attitudes towards bilingualism. In each of those, I decide to cite some of the authors I have found in the way I have done in my project. So well, in terms of bilingualism, I cite Mackey in 1962, Baker 2001, Baker and Sienkiewicz 2000, and Baker 2014, right? So well, in the case of Mackey, so one of his ideas is that he emphasizes the idea that bilingualism is a characteristic of language usage and clarifies that bilingualism becomes relative because he considered there is no way to know what the boundaries to consider a person as bilingualism are, right? So in case of like Baker 2000, Baker and Singwix 2000, so we can find that they point out that there are some distinctions in terms of bilingualism, such as user ability, specific language skills, self categorization or categorization by others, and change in the use and choice of language. So some of those are dimensions or different categories that make a person get classified gets classified as a bilingual person, right? And also we can find that Baker decide like in Baker 2014, he classifies different kinds of bilingual education, like dual bilingual education or clear education, and some others that he mentioned in his book. Well, then, having mentioned some of the findings in bilingualism, so I decided to work on teacher education programs, and one of the main resources was the Ministry of Education 2013. So in this one, like the Ministry of Education assures that teacher education programs should bolster teacher skills in order to ensure their professional and pedagogical development. So it means that there is necessary to have a quality education, in this case, teacher education, as a way that they get the correct skills and they ensure the professional and pedagogical development. And finally, the last construct is attitudes towards bilingualism. So having the experience of asking various people what they consider to be bilingual and having like different views and different answers, like to use two languages correctly or to use four skills accurately or like manage speaking and listening in a good way. Like there are different varieties of response. So in this case, I decided to cite McLaughlin in 1992, so that declares that there are some needs about the acquisition of second language. So we can find different views about bilingualism, and also we can find some needs about how people acquire like the second language. For example, that he states that there are like children learn second language easily and quickly, um, and that there are um, some aspects that like make children learn easily a second language. So well, saying that, then like I did the process of the literature review. So I decided to divide it into three main topics based on the different resources and authors that emerge of in the inquiry of different projects, right? So well, the first one is bilingualism as a resource, Vidaurre 2019, bilingualism as a right, uh, Main 2016, and USMA 2009, and finally bilingualism as a problem. So in the first one, bilingualism as a resource, so some of the ideas that Vidaurre 2019 mentioned is that teacher training in intercultural bilingual education in Peru is undoubtedly a priority for the development of a quality of the education. So as a way that people can get a quality of education, so it can be seen as a resource. So he also mentioned that this is necessary as a way to get into a global era, and as a way to get more knowledge and a better quality of life, right? So having the knowledge of a second language uh, will make people life a little bit easier. So for that reason, it is necessary that bilingualism becomes or can be seen as a resource. Then in the bilingualism as a right, some of the ideas that are mentioned as that um, like the language is a very useful and a very necessary tool as a way to communicate, right? So for that reason, it is necessary that people start getting the idea that bilingualism is a right, like getting a new language it's necessary. So for this reason, so acquiring a second language is necessary to get equality and equity for all children and young people in the country. So there are some laws and decrees that look for the spread of bilingualism. So, for example, Usman mentions in his article that there are some laws and decrees, as I already mentioned, that have been established in this regard. So, for example, the law 1064 that focuses on the support and strengthening on non-formal education programs. So now those are denominated education programs for work and human development. And the decree 3870, which adopted the Common European Framework reference for languages. So all of this with the idea that the bilingualism can be promoted. Also, we can find here the derechos básicos de aprendizaje de inglés that also looks for the learning of a second language and for the goals in this acquisition of a new language. And finally, we have the bilingualism as a problem. So in this one, so Guerrero 2010 explained that exists a close relationship between elite and additive bilingualism and folk and subtractive bilingualism. Because as he comments, elite bilinguals have the power to maintain the L1 while acquire another language with more prestige and use by learning. All of this because it is involved in social and economic scenarios, but in the other case, the folk and subtractive bilingualism, like the individual acquired a second language and tend to lose the native language. So for that reason, it says Guerrero states that it can be subtractive bilingualism. So also because the folk, or in this case, what happened is that the first language has low prestige, and for that reason, it tends to get lost, right? So, well, so those are some of the ideas that I have found during my process of this research project. So, well, I think that that will be it. I hope that you can find this interesting. And if you have like any question, you can please let me know as a way that we can have a good conversation about my topic. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.